Josh Bailey, and I'll be speaking on the issue of school-wide dress codes around the nation. Whether or not schools should require their students to follow a dress code has become a large subject of debate over the years. This topic has numerous supporters on both sides of the argument. This speech is going to point out the many benefits of implementing a school-wide dress code around the nation. Schools should be allowed to impose dress codes and even uniforms upon their students. When most students refer to dress codes or hear the term dress code, they usually think of uncool, which automatically makes them throw out the idea of a dress code. These are usually the same kids that argue that dress codes suppress their individual creativity and impose on their right to express their individuality. What these people do not take into account is that many benefits of school-wide dress codes. Implementing dress codes will benefit students more than it will harm them and improve the student's learning environment. Most adults and parents will support that kids go to school to get an education, and anything that impairs this education is simply not tolerable. Violence and bullying plague our current school system, and the simplest fix to this rampant problem is a mandatory dress code or student uniforms. According to a study done by the United States Department of Education, there are evidence that school uniforms can help reduce theft, violence, and the negative effects of peer pressure caused when some students come to school wearing designer clothing and expensive sneakers. A uniform code also prevents gang members from wearing colors and insignias that could cause trouble and help school officials recognize intruders who do not belong on campus, CRF. Not only do dress codes reduce major physical violence, they also reduce bullying and mental violence in our school system. Whenever students are all wearing the same thing, it creates a uniformity or similarity between all the kids. This may not completely eliminate bullying or eliminate violence, but it gives bullies one less thing to pick on kids about or start a fight about. Timpson. School is not a beauty pageant or fashion show. School is a place of learning and the growth of young men and women, and to prepare them for life in the future. Students need to learn what is appropriate or inappropriate attire for certain occasions. A dress code provides this learning experience. Dress codes eliminate offensive and crude clothing within a classroom. For example, imagine someone is sitting next to you wearing an overly tight or suggestive outfit, or is wearing super flamboyant or loud clothing. This can be very distracting for many students and hinder their learning process. Imagine that you are not able to do anything about this person's attire due to them arguing that it infringes on their rights to express themselves under the First Amendment of the Constitution. The only problem is this infringes on your right by allowing them to wear these outrageous clothing. Some will argue that dress codes take away from a young man or woman's learning experience when a child is pulled out of the classroom to enforce a dress code violation. This small exodus from a class is better than the kids staying in the classroom and distracting all the students for the remainder of the day. These small exits from class, which are sometimes embarrassing, are a way of making kids want to follow the dress code and are very effective and will eventually stop the kids from breaking the dress code violation. Just in case a school or parents are scared this form of enforcement are not effective or are harming their kids, they can simply switch over to uniforms, which will eliminate this need. Dress codes are a major part of everyday life, not just in school. People encounter these dress regulations all the time. For example, dressing up for church or wearing a sports uniform, etc. The most definitely applies to the everyday work environment for adults. They have to wear clothes that conform to their company's code of dress. These people cannot just go to work wearing anything they desire, and when they are told it is wrong, they can't simply call it stupid and get away with it. Why should the school environment be any different from the workplace? Even a simple dress code shows the students and helps prepare them on how to dress in real-life situations in the future. Swiftly. In conclusion, there are many and obvious reasons why schools should implement dress codes or uniforms for all their students. It is hard enough for children to get an education with all the clothing distractions and violence. The education on how to dress appropriately for real-life situations helps kids succeed in the future. Kids are under enough scrutiny and pressure without having to focus or worry about how they should dress, whether they'll be picked on, or if they'll be subject to violence in today's schools.